Yeah, let's get right into this. Here's the deal. We have them right here. Two saucy buns on the sheets coming out of the oven. Here's the bottom line. The SSA OIG, Office of Inspector General, publishes some hot sheets that talk about beneficiaries. Beneficiaries come in two forms. They come in the form where, number one, they receive a check from the SSA, they're a beneficiary. And then beneficiary number two is where they benefit off of a beneficiary, usually in the form of fraud, similar fault, whatever. Okay, so here's the bottom line. First one of the groups of individuals who have frauded or done something wrong to the Social Security Administration. Now, remember, these are not really trophy hunts, like going out and hunting, right? Of Elon Musk. They're not. These are more pre-Elon Musk OIG individuals. What we're seeing right now is what I think is a nice, dribble of we're getting this person who did it. They prosecuted that person. They indicted that person. That person's going to jail. But Elon has just begun with Pam Bondi a massive, arrest situation where they're going to be going after a lot of the criminals that they find, which is the validating point for Elon, whether or not the judges will uphold essentially these prosecutions against these individuals. So I'm telling you now, but in the not too distant future, you're going to be seeing significantly more, which will start to be Elon's people that have basically, charged through Pam Bondi, people that they claim have committed fraud against the SSA. Here we go. First one. Quincy woman was sentenced for Social Security fraud April 3rd, 2025. U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Massachusetts, Boston. A Quincy woman was sentenced today in federal court in Boston for fraudulently receiving Social Security disability benefits. Crystal Jesmaria, 41, was sentenced by U.S. Magistrate Judge Jennifer C. Bowl to 3 years of probation in order to pay $93,603 in restitution. Earlier in the hearing, Jesmaria pleaded guilty to one count of misdemeanor theft of government money. Jesmaria was charged in October of 2024. From July 2013 to August 2022, Jesmaria stole $93,603 in Social Security Administration disability benefits by failing to report her 2013 marriage and making multiple misleading statements to the SSA regarding her marital status. Jesmaria has been receiving disabled adult child benefits since March of 2005. Oh, there it is. DAC benefits. Married individuals, with limited exceptions, are ineligible for DAC benefits because they're married. They have somebody else supporting them. SSA informed Jesmaria of this eligibility criteria when she began receiving DAC benefits and sent several written reminders of her obligation to report any change in her marital status. During a continuing disability review in 2016, Jesmaria submitted to the SSA several forms as well as affidavits from her husband that contain misleading information about the relationship with references to him as a friend or roommate. They don't fall for that stuff. Like if you're thinking I'm just going to put him down as a roommate, they don't fall for that. You know what I mean? When she was confronted by an SSA employee in May of 2022 about an allegation that she was married and reminded him again of the potential impact on her DAC benefits, Jesmaria denied knowing anything about the marriage. Probably a CDI unit. Probably an investigator showed up at her house. United States Attorney Leah B. Foley and Amy Connolly, Special Agent in charge of Social Security Administration, Office of the Inspector General, Office of Investigations, Boston Field Division, made the announcement today. Special Assistant U.S. Attorney James J. Nagelberg of the Major Crimes Unit prosecuted the case. Bottom line is, can't get DAC benefits, disabled adult child benefits, if you marry. So bottom line is, if you want to keep those benefits and tapping into your parents' Title II benefits as somebody who's been disabled from a young age, can't get married. Cannot get married. Next one. New York man sentenced to more than 2 years in prison for money laundering connected to stolen federal funds. Real quick, Attorney Walter Hnot, if you like these videos, you like the heads up, you like what's going on, please consider doing a like and subscribe. Please like the video. Please like the video. Please like the video. There you go. All right, here we go. April 3rd, 2025, Philadelphia, United States Attorney David Metcalf announced that Zing Zhang, 35, of Queens, New York, was sentenced Tuesday by United States District Court Judge Timothy J. Savage to 28 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release. That's 28 months in prison. That's more than 2 years, people. For his role in a conspiracy to launder approximately $2.98 million of fraud proceeds from various sources, including more than $426,000 in stolen Social Security retirement funds and COVID-19 funds from the State Workforce Agency of Pennsylvania, Illinois, Indiana, West Virginia, Arizona, and Ohio. Oh, shit. But you know it's not New York, even though this was Philadelphia, okay, Pennsylvania. Zhang was also ordered to pay $426,044 in restitution to the Social Security Administration and the various state workforce agencies and a forfeiture judgment of $745,000. In December of last year, Zhang pleaded guilty to a one-count information charging him with conspiracy to commit money laundering. As stated in the information and admitted to by Zhang, he and an unidentified co-conspirator, who operated under the pseudonyms Christian Da Silva and Christian Hernandez, agreed to launder fraud proceeds. In furtherance of the conspiracy, fraudulent applications were filed online for SSA retirement insurance benefits, RIBs, and COVID-19 Pandemic Unemployment Act, PUA funds, using the stolen identities and personal information of eligible retirees and other individuals, and those benefit payments were directed to bank accounts controlled by the conspirators. Christian also conspired with a related defendant, Myrna Ortiz, 46, of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, whom Christian met through an online dating website. There you go. Got to find love. The two started a relationship via digital messaging, and Ortiz began helping her online paramour execute the fraud scheme, filing fraudulent claims for SSA RIB payments. The scheme targeted high-wage earners over the age of 62 who had not yet filed for Social Security retirement benefits, and it impacted at least 23 victims. That's a lot of people. Like, I know 23 doesn't sound like a lot of people, but that is a lot of people. Ortiz admitted opening 10 bank accounts at Christian's direction in order to receive the fraudulently issued government funds, and then withdrawing the funds, purchasing gift cards with cash, and laundering the funds back to her co-conspirator through the gift cards by providing him with the account number and unique 4-digit personal identification number for each gift card. That's why they're changing gift cards, and identification is becoming more important with them. Beginning in or about May 2020, Christian instructed Ortiz to provide him with the debit cards for the bank accounts into which the stolen funds were electronically deposited using various encrypted communication platforms. Christian and Zhang then conspired to further launder these funds. They agreed that Christian would sell debit cards and gift cards to Zhang in exchange for cryptocurrency, both knowing that the funds were the proceeds of unlawful activity and that the transactions were designed in whole or in part to conceal and disguise the nature, location, source, ownership, and control of the proceeds and their origin story. That's the main part of it. During the course of the conspiracy, Zhang purchased approximately 1,565 debit cards and or gift cards from Christian, valued at approximately $2.98 million, which he laundered in exchange for cryptocurrency for Christian. In all, Zhang retained approximately 25% of the value of the debit and gift cards that he exchanged. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Of approximately $2.98 million laundered, approximately $96,500 worth of fraud proceeds were traceable to Myrna Ortiz's bank accounts, which contain the stolen SSA, RIB, and PUA fraud proceeds. All told, through these schemes, Ortiz conspired, to defraud the government and to launder stolen government funds totaling almost $600,000. She was sentenced to January to 1 day in prison, 2 years of supervised release, and restitution of $688,049. So 1 day in prison. She was sentenced to January to 1 day in prison, 2 years of supervised release. That's interesting. I always think it's interesting when they put them through the 1 day prison gig. It's smart. It tells them, don't do this. You're going to come back, Quote, while Zhang did not personally participate in the fraud against the government, he knew that the money he was laundering was criminally derived, said U.S. Attorney Metcalf. Nonetheless, he was happy to participate launder funds on a near daily basis. Yeah, because there were so many cards he had to deal with. And take his 25% cut, even as his crimes helped perpetrate, they spelled it wrong on here. Even as they continue to be the issue of the underlying fraud, my office. All right, so let's just go to the quote. My office will continue to target crooks. No, sorry, it was perpetuate. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, and it's tiny font. It's tiny. Well, it's size 12. Size 12 to me is tiny font because my eyes, are burnt out from reading things all day. So let me read it properly here. Even as his crimes help perpetuate the underlying fraud, my office will continue to target crooks who steal from the government and those who enable them, dismantle their schemes, and bring them to justice. It's a Batman theme right there. That's very nice. A little Batman music in the background as I read the quote. Quote, the millions of dollars fraudulently obtained in this case were intended to support struggling Americans during a time of unprecedented crisis, not to line the pockets of those driven by greed, said Wayne A. Jacobs, special agent in charge of FBI Philadelphia. The FBI remains committed to protecting the integrity of these vital relief programs. And we're grateful for the continued collaboration of our partners as we hold accountable those who exploit them through egregious and complex financial schemes. These quotes, they're just so pre-planned. They're just so pre-written. They're just so the millions of dollars. I don't know. I feel like I'd read a better emotional one, Quote, this 28-month prison sentence holds Mr. Zeng accountable for stealing money from rightful beneficiaries who rely on these funds to survive, said Colleen Lawler, special agent in charge, SSA Office of the Inspector General, Philadelphia Field Division. I thank our law enforcement partners for their assistance and the U.S. Attorney's Office for prosecuting this complex case. Quote, Zing Zhang and his co-conspirators defrauded multiple state workforce agencies by filing for unemployment insurance benefits in the names of identity theft victims who were not entitled to such benefits. As a result, Zhang enriched himself by stealing taxpayer resources intended for unemployed American workers. This sentencing affirms the Office of Inspector General's commitment to work with our federal and state law enforcement partners to protect the integrity of the UI system from those who seek to exploit this critical benefit program, stated Sarita Scott, special agent in charge of the Mid-Atlantic region, U.S. Department of Labor, Office of the Inspector General. All right, so here's the deal. The point I'm doing these videos is that people claim that there was no fraud at the SSA. There's fraud happening to the SSA all the time, every single day. DOGE does not own the trademark, copyright, patent to the claim that fraud is occurring against the SSA. It just seems like that in the news. It seems like they're soaking up the rays on it. OIG has been working to put bad people behind bars for a very long time. There happens to be a lot of bad people because if you follow the money, that's where trillions of dollars come out of the government, which means that a lot of people can do get rich quick schemes, but they usually render get jailed quick schemes as well. My point of doing this video is that I want to show you specifically so you understand the types of individuals that are getting arrested for these types of fraud, the types of beneficiaries or people benefiting off of beneficiaries that are going to jail. A lot of you should not worry. When you should worry is when you see Elon Musk and DOGE going after disabled people, getting access to their online accounts, pulling photos, stitching together, information to basically show that you're not really disabled. That is when Elon starts to get heavy and deep into OIG when it comes to CDI units. That's when you want to be worried. That's when a problem is on the horizon. That's what you don't want. All right, everybody, I'm going to be going to bed because I have to wake up early. Attorney Walter Hnot, the most viewed and subscribed to and clicked on Disability Attorney in America. With that said, please remember to like. Please remember to subscribe. Head over to Google, type in Disability Resolution Law Firm. Throw some stars up there. You get to choose how many. I like to wake up to them, so they make me happy. But anyways, I will catch you a little bit later. Please remember I go live on Mondays and Thursdays. And also there's a mini contract below if you want to do a private session with me. I will catch you all a little bit later. Have an amazing weekend, and we will go from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, thank you so much. And I will catch up with you probably tomorrow. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.